Hey, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about infantry on infantry fighting and a little bit of airdrop intermixed with that. As you can see with our board, I've changed the scenario from a eastern front to a western front, specifically with the airdrop, the airborne dropping into Normandy. I have the attention span of a 3-year-old, and so I will probably continue to change these as these scenarios go on. But let's get right into it. So with the rule book, it has a pretty cool way of really doing this. So really all you need to do to conduct an airdrop is to make just little slips of paper. I've just cut out, see if I can, so you can see just little slips of paper. And then what you're going to do is you're just going to place them at about 1-inch intervals on your ruler here. So we're going to play the way the rules have it, where each base equals a platoon, and I'm going to be dropping in a battalion, and so I'm going to be placing 9 of these little things. Seven, 8, 9. And then all you're going to do, after you have these lined up very carefully so these pieces of paper don't fly off, you're just going to lift it up. With these troops, they're more veteran, so I have them as excellent according to the rule book. So with that, you hold it about 8 inches above the ground. I like to add just a little bit more friction than that. That seems a little too low. Especially since in this scenario they've got anti-aircraft guns, and we know that the guys flying the C-47s, it was not smooth sailing, so I'm going to hold it up probably about like 2 feet above the game board, and all I'm going to do is just tip it and see where they fall. So you can see they all landed pretty well all in the same spot. If you want to add a little bit of friction to this, you can put a fan somewhere off on the side of the table, probably not going too hard. Otherwise, you'll probably blow your piece of paper off the board. But what you're going to do is you're going to take each of your little bases. I've got these little paratroopers that I have designed and 3D printed here. And you're just going to replace each of those with one of these little bases here. Okay, so as you can see, I skipped ahead a little bit just so you didn't have to watch me replace all those for a good 5 minutes. So as you can see, these are generally all grouped together. However, this fella out here is pretty far away from the group. With the cohesion, with excellent troops, I believe it's 6 inches. Someone can correct me if need be. So all of these troops here are within 6 inches. I think the farthest one away, yeah, he's still within 4. But this guy out here, he definitely is outside of 6 inches. So what that means is that whenever this platoon moves out here, they need to move towards their company to get that cohesion. Otherwise, every time they're outside of that cohesion range, they have a +1 or a -1 to their quality check. So their quality check right now is a 3. So that just means they'd have to roll a 4 for every quality check they have to take outside of the company. So the paratroopers have landed. We have what looks like a company of German infantry located over here. And so it being still the Americans' turn, they have a movement of 4. So we're going to start making movement towards the enemy here. You see in the boo-boo, and I didn't mark these companies. You see this guy has to move this way so that he can be in contact. And I think he's in cohesion now. Yep, he's in cohesion. So for the sake of this scenario, I'm going to make these three a company, these three a company, and then these three a company. Oh, I left one of these in there. So this fellow's going to move up. And what the battalion commander wants to do is he wants to leave this company here as Overwatch, and then he's going to send this company so this company and this company up forward with this one in reserve. So now these Germans here, they can see paratroopers moving up. For the sake of this scenario, I know these are on the outside of the hedgerow. I'm just going to say they're within the hedgerow. So these aren't visible and these are not visible because they're kind of sandwiched between these two. And obviously this one isn't. So as of right now, the paratroopers can't see the Germans, but the Germans can see the paratroopers. So they've made their movement. They can't see anyone. And so they're going to now turn the time over to the Germans. The Germans, they want to stay masked. They don't want to let anyone know where they're at. And so they're going to once again turn it back over to the paratroopers. So the paratroopers keep moving. Movement of 4. 4. Trying to stay dispersed. Okay. Now as this platoon's moving up here, this platoon here wants to conduct overwatch fire on this platoon here. So that German platoon has a rate of fire of 2. It has a 2 hit of 3+ because they are considered good in quality. And so I'm going to roll 2 dice here. I rolled a 4 and a 1. So that is 1 hit. So infantry is not like tanks. Once they receive a hit, they just have to receive a hit. So these fellas here, and again, I skipped ahead, but I know this is 4 inches. Right on the money, they have a range of 4. So that is within. So at this point, the paratroopers have to do a quality check. He's within cohesion of his company. He's within the 6 inches. He has a quality check of 3+. So this guy's got to roll a 3+ to continue. And he rolled a 2. So that means this paratrooper company or platoon right in the open takes too many casualties. It's now combat ineffective right off the bat. However, these Germans have now unmasked and they are unable to continue to engage other moving paratroopers. So we now see them. This platoon moves up 4 inches and this platoon moves up 4 inches. Okay, so now we're at the end of our turn here. So I'm going to call out all my shots, right? So these clearly can't see that platoon there. This platoon can, this platoon can, and this platoon can, as well as these two, this company back here. So I know for a fact, without measuring, because again, if you measure, that's just like you saying I'm going to shoot, right? So judging off of this, I can definitely tell that this platoon is way too far away, but this one is probably close enough. So I'm going to engage this platoon with this platoon. He's right on 4 inches. The paratroopers have a rate of fire of 2, and they need a 3+ to hit. Just going to roll 2 dice, and that is a 5 and a 4. So that's 2 hits. Now with the terrain check, because I'm just going to call this light terrain, so the Germans need to roll a 5+ for a save in that terrain. So I'm going to roll 2 dice because they were hit twice. And it's a 1 and a 5. So one of those hits was not effective. So that still means that this platoon needs to take quality check because they received 1 hit. So the Germans have a good quality, which means they need to get a 4+ on their quality check roll. So I'm going to roll this dice. It's a 5. So German platoon survived that. However, now they have a type B suppression, or direct fire suppression. All that means is that they're suppressed until the beginning of the Americans' next direct fire turn. That's how much they're suppressed. So what that means is they have a -2 to their movement, and they have a -2 to their to hit. So with this, all of these platoons moved, but they did not engage. So these all have a hold fire next to them. And these 3 back here, because they didn't move, they have an overwatch. It's not going to do much good because they know they're pretty much out of range, but for the sake of learning, we're just going to put those there. Okay, so that platoon is suppressed. The Americans have conducted all their movement. Now it is the German player's turn. So this German player, he's going to egress. He has a -2 to his movement, so he's going to come right back behind this hedgerow here, still suppressed, trying to make some cover there. Now, something key, we're going to kind of rewind here, kind of play this back as if the scenario played itself out a little bit differently. So let's say, what do we have? We had a 5 and a 4 on that German platoon. So rewinding all the way back to where this platoon engaged that platoon, had 2 hits, a 5 and a 4. The Germans needed to roll a 5+ for a save in that terrain. Let's say the German player rolled a 1 and a 3, so not high enough for a save, right? So what that would mean is that for every hit on top of the first hit, you're going to it's a -1 from your quality check on the die roll. So what that would mean is that originally the Germans have a quality check of 4, but because they had an extra hit on top of that, they would have to roll a 5. So with that scenario, let's see if they were able to pull it off with that extra hit. And they roll a 5. So once again, this is the lucky platoon. But as you can see, if they had rolled any different, any less than that, then they would have been eliminated with that. So that's kind of like the big down and dirty with anti-infantry fire. I'm sure that in more of these scenarios we'll play more into that. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. See you next time.